Hello, I'm Lyle DeVries, a consultant assisting the South Dakota Department of Transportation with the Black Hills Context-Sensitive Corridors study. Welcome to the virtual public meeting for reviewing improvement concepts to US 85 from the Wyoming state line to the junction of US 14A at Cheyenne Crossing. This corridor is just over 16 miles long and is identified as Corridor 3 within the Black Hills Context-Sensitive Corridor Study, also termed as the study. This presentation covers the unique transportation needs and the improvement concepts proposed for the corridor and will provide an opportunity for you to explore and comment on some of the more critical focus areas. At the end of this presentation, you will be given instructions on how to review improvement concepts in more detail and provide your comments. In phases 1 and 2 of the study, corridors were characterized based on their current and/or desired function in the regional highway network. This US 85 corridor, which is an official National Highway System route, was identified as a commercial commuter corridor in that its desired primary function is to support freight flow to and from Interstate 90 and connect people with jobs and activities in nearby communities. Key physical and operating characteristics of such a route as this, a commercial commuter route, are higher travel speeds, wider lanes and shoulders to accommodate larger vehicles, and well-designed highway access to minimize turning conflicts. This corridor contains a rich context of scenic views and environmental resources. Accordingly, improvements to its transportation function are balanced to complement the unique character of the roadway. To ensure a successful balance, each of the improvement types have been reviewed by SDDOT environmental staff, as well as representatives from Game Fish and Parks and the U.S. Forest Service to ensure adjacent resource impacts are appropriately considered. Once you have viewed the improvement concepts, our team is eager to hear your input on how well the improvements do complement the context of the highway. Strategies developed by the team to help Corridor 3 better fulfill its purpose while complementing the context include several improvement types. Shown here are current and proposed typical sections. The current cross-section for the roadway reflects a lane width of 11 feet and minimal to no shoulders. The preferred section, more conducive to the regional higher speed travel envisioned for this corridor, includes 12-foot lanes and paved or a combination of paved and gravel shoulders adding up to 6 feet in width. To safely support higher desired speed requires looking also outside the paved width to establish a sufficient clear zone. In summary, the widening here would add about 10 to 14 feet to the overall current width of the corridor. Additionally, from a design perspective, there are approximately 20 curves along the corridor with speed advisory signs warning drivers to slow down for the curve. A goal for this corridor is to minimize the number of these advisory curves. And to do this, we can increase the radius of these curves, flattening the curve, and this can greatly improve the potential to maintain the desired speed and travel time. The improvements to curves, however, do require shifting off of the current alignment, which results in impacts to adjacent areas. The approximate grading impact area is shaded on this graphic, and roads and driveways will also need to be reconnected to the realigned US 85. Another need is to create more pullout opportunities along the corridor, as depicted here. Such pullouts provide a refuge for drivers needing a short pause and allow faster moving traffic to progress more safely and efficiently. The need for pullouts has been incorporated throughout the corridor concept. Improvements are also focused on reducing crashes. The west end of this corridor has several segments that in the last 5 years have experienced higher crash rates, shaded in orange here. Additional design effort was applied in these locations to address crashes as well as support the needs of travel time reduction and convenience for freight and commuter traffic. Widening travel lanes, adjusting roadway curvature, adding shoulders, and creating an appropriate clear zone also support crash reduction. Across the 16-mile length, there are essentially three distinct shifts in terrain severity that influence the definition of potential corridor improvements. Starting on the west end, relative to other portions of the corridor, areas adjacent to the roadway are more open, which better accommodates flattening curves to support higher speed design. Within this portion of the corridor, improvements assumed a posted speed of 60 miles per hour, which is consistent with state design guidelines for U.S. routes. This particular graphic depicts a curve realignment to help achieve that posted limit. Pullouts are also identified for this section of the corridor. Within the middle portion of the corridor, beginning at about mile reference marker 6, US 85 enters more rugged terrain. It's kind of a transition zone. This rugged terrain restricts the ability to flatten many of the curves to accommodate that higher posted speed. Thus, the posted speed objective transitions in this area from the 60 miles an hour to 40 miles an hour posted speed. This lower proposed operating speed allows for shorter radius curves before needing to post a speed advisory sign, and the shorter radius curves reduce the area of potential impact. Pullouts and parking area enhancements again are shown in this section of the corridor. At the mile 12 point, the number of adjacent recreational uses such as picnic areas increases, which results in more turning traffic, and the roadway terrain also becomes increasingly constrained. To safely support access to and from these areas and complement the context, the assumed operating speed in this portion of the corridor was stepped down to 40 miles per hour. An initial environmental scan has been completed to understand current environmental resources that could be impacted by the proposed improvements and set the stage for future environmental analysis and clearance processes. Resources present throughout the corridor cover wetlands and potential historic structures. National forests and tribal lands are also found. These resources need to be carefully addressed as improvements are advanced further in design. In summary, improvements to Corridor 3 are directed toward reducing crashes and increasing travel speeds for regional freight and passenger vehicle traffic. The corridor concept includes widening of the roadway to accommodate increased travel time, increased travel lane and shoulder width, realignment of some horizontal curves, particularly in the western portion of the corridor to increase posted speeds, and provision of pullouts to accommodate faster moving traffic and provide a refuge for drivers in need of a break. A red-green rating system is provided to allow for simple review of the performance of corridor improvements. This matrix depicts the Corridor 3 ratings. Red circles indicate greater impacts or costs and less consistency with the design guidelines and overall corridor vision. Green circles are generally positive, denoting lower costs and impacts and higher design and vision consistency. The identified vision for Corridor 3 is to support commercial and commuter travel as a part of the National Highway System network. This vision is best fulfilled within the west and middle portions by the improvements that have been identified, but the constrained east portion limits the ability to provide those higher travel speeds. The proposed improvements are quite successful at improving consistency with STDOT design guidelines. Environmental and property impacts are greater in the west and middle sections, where more curves are being addressed with realignments. The proposed improvements are of a relatively higher cost, particularly in the west portion, due to pavement widening and curve corrections. Thank you for viewing this presentation. To learn more about Corridor 3, click the orange Get Started Now button below this video. This will take you to the overall corridor location map. By pressing and holding the left mouse button, you can move the overall map to view the corridor you're most interested in this case, Corridor 3. A quick mouse click while hovering over Corridor 3 will take you to more detailed information. Shown here, the type of information includes corridor realignments or different improvement types that you can view and comment on. You can click on those improvement types to then provide your comments and navigate back to the home screen by going back to the gray ribbon on the left side of your screen. The corridors icon is also located in the gray ribbon to help you navigate. We very much look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you again for your time.